Ya tú sabes. Hold on. We gotta run that back. No estoy dominicana, pero ya tú sabes, ladies and gentlemen. The government shutdown has caused EBT to be shut down. Now, by the goodness of God, by the Most High, I have never been on EBT, and I never plan on being on EBT. For the people that need EBT, which is government assistance, it is what it is. At the end of the day, we all got to eat. And a lot of people, ironically, in Thanksgiving, this is when it's been taking place in November. Ladies and gentlemen, the government has caused EBT funding obsolete. I believe 7 states so far, including Texas, individuals now cannot use government assistance to buy food, and they put it on Thanksgiving. That's some crazy work, ladies and gentlemen. People really about to be strung out here in Thanksgiving real life, but I'm making this content to expose the people that's abusing the EBT government assistance, such as Disrack Dante. So Disrack Dante was making income off of YouTube, but claiming $0. So he was getting government assistance. He was living in government assistance. Has on his page, on his YouTube channel. If you don't know who Disrack Dante, this light skinned ass ninja, this man, ladies and gentlemen, has been living in government assistance for the past 6 years. He moved out because they finally caught on to what he was doing, because he was receiving income, but he wasn't claiming it. The man goes on and goes into a situation to where he can't afford, apparently makes struggle content. He's about to move into U-Haul. He's going to his mother's basement with his newlywed wife that has diabetes, even though she's every second, every opportunity, she is crunching through some bags, eating high sodium, man-made processed foods, but she's on a holistic journey. That's some crazy work. So what was that about? But I digress. This is about Disrack Dante and EBT. So I believe, this is my hypothesis, ladies and gentlemen. I believe Disrack Dante, EBT was cut off, so he had no option but to work, and as he should. If you are a enabling body, if you wake up every day and you don't need assistance, you don't need a caretaker, no one needs to help you to use the restroom, if you're able to get up and get it, then why are you applying for government assistance? That is the rat race. That is the maze in the tunnel. That is what's going to keep you in a loop for the people that are in that Section 8 housing. Now, it's a very sensitive topic because it's a dog eat dog world out here. People are trying to survive at the end of the day, but to mooch off, guess who pays for these people, ladies and gentlemen? It's the taxpayers. Your tax dollars is funding these people, their roof over the head, the food in the refrigerator, your tax paying dollars. So if your bread is going to fund somebody's way of living, wouldn't you want that bread to go for those in need, such as the elderly? The elderly, I highly agree, the elderly needs to have government assistance. Second, I'm going to say the disabled. The disabled, I mean, at the end of the day, they are disabled. How can they go out there in the mud, in the trenches, and get it? And then backdoor, I would also say the U.S. veterans. The veterans, we got to take care of our vets at the end of the day, regardless of how you feel about the military. They defended our country if you lived in the United States, and they deserve some type of assistance. Those three categories. But now EBT is shut down in the month of November. They're forcing the old heads, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, these abuelas, these abuelos, grandpapa and grandmama, these grandmas, it's crazy work. They're gonna have to go out there and get it out the mud. But people like Disrack Dante is taking food off the table when he's a fully capable, enabled young man that is a father, that is a husband, but he was claiming EBT. That's some crazy work, ladies and gentlemen. Now, once again, I do not condone EBT by any means, and never by the grace of the Most High will I be on EBT. Make sure my microphone is on. No soy dominicana, pero ya tú sabes. If you are blessed enough to have your health and go out and get it, then go out and get it. It says in a good book, and I'm not trying to make this religious, but it says in the good book, if you don't work, you don't eat. But you have people doing everything but go to work. It takes EBT to have a whole government shutdown, ladies and gentlemen, for people to go out and finally, oh, I am able to go out in the street and get it. And that's why I have the thumbnail the way that it is, Scammer Dontay. We see right between the lines, this right, Dontay. Now, at the end of the day, you're working, but you was forced to work. Let's keep it a being. This man should have came out and said, you know what, my EBT, this is how you make content, this right, Dontay. You got to rock with the people. Without the people, you're nothing. And I want to thank every single one of y'all in the building that is watching, because without you, this content would be obsolete. And that's what District Dontay needs to understand. He is trying to act like the people are idiots, like they don't have a mind above their shoulder. There's a lot of old heads that watch District Dontay. You're out here promoting gig work. You know how many gig workers out in the street? That is relatable content. But you're not addressing the elephant in the room, District Dontay. Hold on now. Hold on now. Stay with me, District Dontay. What you have to understand is that you need to address that you was scamming. You was doing EBT while claiming $0 income, but you was working every 3 weeks and you'll quit a job every 3 weeks because you know that in the 4th week you will lose benefits. So you have to quit to receive benefits. Backdoor, you're getting income from YouTube AdSense. $500 here, $1K here, $2K here, and you had $0 rent, ladies and gentlemen. So for the people that actually need the government assistance, I'm not knocking on that. I won't rock with it, but I'm not going to knock the hustle. If you got to eat at the end of the day, you got to eat. But for the people that are fully healthy, once again, the elderly, we shouldn't have grandpapa and grandmama in the front of the store greeting people at your local grocery store. Can she sit her ass down? Does grandmama need to work to the age of 80 years old? Is that what's going on in America, ladies and gentlemen? Now let's go into the content. I have right here videos that's explaining the government shutdown. Then we're going to go to the District Dontay content.
Hear what's going on with Trump and them? Apparently they shut down November and December food stamp. I just got a note from them say they gonna shut my food stamps. Ohio, you bet not. You bet not feed in that allegation. You better pay me my food stamps. I better get my food stamps. Let me not get no food stamps November and December. Free me. Get my commissary out, because I'm taking up the stove and taking everything. Making my way downtown to the White House. I'm going to White House. Quick. I'm going to the White House.
This is very ignorant behavior. All the energy to make the video talking about EBT is getting shut down, shaking that weave or that wig on top of your head. You can use that energy to apply for a job. When there's a will, there's a way. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you got to put on that ski mask and take care of what needs to be taken care of. Trump is saying he's tired of the BS, regardless of how you feel about the man. If you don't work, you don't eat, period. People is mooching off this EBT, and it has to stop. We're going to go to the District Dontay content.
Been through so much, bruh. So much. Over the last 5 years of my life, I couldn't hold a job, which led me to only being able to live in public.
Did you hear what this man just said, ladies and gentlemen? Over the past 5 years, he couldn't hold a job? What? 5 years? No. We're not gonna just blow through that like you didn't just say over the past 5 years. This right, Dontay. Come on, my guy. 5 years is crazy work. 5 years? Do you know what you can do in 5? Yo, imagine 5 years of actually working, that income, that bank. It doesn't even matter what you got. Something is better than nothing. Do not let people belittle your job. I don't care if you are mopping floors, cleaning toilets, whatever you have to do, as long as you're not a financial burden on the next person. Nobody wants to receive a text talking about, oh man, can I get spotted here? Can you help me out here? Can you send me 1K here? once in a blue moon. So what we have to understand, we all need help at the end of the day, of course. But every single month, that same person's asking for help is some crazy work, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot be a financial burden to our friends and family, to our loved ones. Come on now, they have their own financial responsibilities. So this man Dishrack Dante was scamming for 5 years. Now all of a sudden the government shut down, is forcing this man to work. Now he wants to make content of him going to work. Crazy work, man. Let's go back to the content.
public housing and depend on government assistance, okay? And so during that whole time, I was staying consistent with YouTube, hoping that YouTube would be a full-time job for me one day, and it finally became full-time last year, okay? And then when it did become full-time, the first thing I did was move my family out of public housing. I got a new car, and so I made all of those moves.
So you heard it from the horse's mouth, ladies and gentlemen. He took his family out of public housing. Imagine having your family. First of all, why are we even reproducing in public housing? I know that's a tough one right there. Don't be sensitive, but we can't be bringing generational curses if we don't have our shit together. Now, it's one thing if our fathers and our past generations, they don't have examples to look at, but if we see example after example, why would we continue to make the same mistake in the building? That's some crazy work. So we're going to be reproducing in public housing. How is your thing? Whoa, pause. How are you even getting turned on in public housing? That's some crazy work. So you're going to have a kid raised in public housing and you going to confess that to the internet?
Solely off of YouTube income, because I had like some really, really good months on YouTube, which is why I ended up moving. Now, I did get like some advice from like.
So he had some really good months on YouTube because he was pushing content of him being evicted, but in reality, he wasn't getting evicted. He was trying to portray like he was going to move his furniture to a U-Haul. The man didn't move anything. He was going to U-Haul. Everything was cap. Off reviews. So people was clicking on this man's videos because they thought he was going to get evicted, but in reality, he was just doing it for short clickbait. He finessed YouTube. He ran up the bag. It's only so much finesse that you can do at the end of the day. And now he's going to backdoor and talking about he had some really good months on YouTube. No, Dante, keep it a bean. You had some really good months on YouTube because he sold your soul for the bag. Imagine being a minority, a black ninja selling your soul for the bag. You have it out there. You have COONS out there because it's cancel culture. I can't even say that word out loud. You have those people out there, and then you have people that will sell their soul, embarrass themselves, put on a black face mask, and do anything for the bag. As you heard, Offset said, do anything for clout. So this man is literally doing anything for clout. And now he's doing what he should have been doing, working a 9 to 5.
Some family members and even some of my viewers that was telling me like, Dante, we know you excited, you making some money now off YouTube, but just be careful with moving so soon. You want to make sure you got a secure job, a stable income, and you don't want to be in a position to where you can't afford where you live at.
That is absolutely 100% accurate. Why is that? This is common sense. So it seems like common sense is not so common. Boards is really talking about people are telling me not to move somewhere where I can't afford it and do things where I can actually, have the funds for. Why do people have to be told that? You have to hit rock bottom for you to understand, live within your means. As a matter of fact, live below your means. This man think he was invincible. So he had a couple good months on YouTube by scamming, by pushing struggle content of him going to his mother's house, going in the basement with his newlywed wife that has diabetes, dust everywhere, all type of particles flying up in his nose. Talking about type. Yo, don't touch this shit right here. This is my mom's shit. Don't touch this shit. We're gonna be over here making all that content all summer long, ladies and gentlemen, getting X amount of views, finessing the YouTube AdSense, this finessing government assistance, finessing YouTube. That's what you should change your name to finesse light skin ass ninja Dante.
I be trying to laugh with the bros.
This guy over here making minorities look bad, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back into the content.
You know, I heard that a lot, and that was the advice that was given to me, but I didn't take it because little old me was like, I'm making all the money on YouTube. I don't care what nobody say. If I can move my family out of low income, I'm moving my family out of low income. So that's exactly what I did. I made all these moves. Fast forward, the YouTube income that I was dependent on slowed down because the internet is unpredictable. YouTube income is not stable.
Yo, it slowed down because you was capping, my guy. The only reason why it was increasing because you was telling the people you was getting evicted. Once again, don't act like your viewers are stupid. You have grown ass people. You maybe can fool the kids, but majority of the content of your viewers are old heads. Do you not understand the analytics? Look at your analytics on YouTube, but look at the age. Majority of your content is old heads. This right, Dante. You was going to job interviews with a bean bag on your head, a dish rag, and your baby on your side hip like he was a side of groceries talking about he boo-booed himself. What? That's why your content for the whole duration of the summer was high because he was portraying that she was about to get evicted. And DoorDash, we haven't forgot about you, DoorDash. Let's go back to the content.
It can be up and down. It dropped to where I couldn't cover my bills no more. Eventually, I was like, maybe if I start sharing this to YouTube, maybe it'll pick my views back up. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe I could get the bills caught back up again. So eventually.
So your light skin ass was lying to your subscribers, lying to the viewers, lying to the masses that you was going to get evicted, claiming EBT. And now your ass finally wants to go back to work because the government shutdown stopped all that shit. And ironically, November, which is Thanksgiving, that's some nasty work.
Those videos of me sharing that financial hardship is what helped me keep my apartment and get all my bills caught back up. It's crazy how YouTube work, bro. I'm telling you. Now, I'm cool. I got blessed with a really good job, man. So I got 3 jobs right now. I got YouTube, I got my new job I just started, and I still do my gig work. So
nigga, you got one job. This man said I got YouTube, but man, boy, yo, who raised this man?
I got 3 sources of income. Today is my day off, by the way. I go back to work tomorrow. So I'm off today, but today I'm after my wife did out her doctor's appointment, me and my wife about to grind it out on our gig work. You feel me? So on my off days, I'm gonna be doing YouTube, and then I'm gonna be doing my gig work with Instacart. Actually, I got 4 sources of income because I get tips at my job, right?
Hold on. He said he has 4 sources of income because he gets tips at his job. This narcissist, do you hear this cap, ladies and gentlemen? So imagine, okay, so let's use his context where he just said he has 4 jobs because they tip him at his job. So the server, right? Let's just use a server, for example, that's in the world. The server at Chili's, server at Outback Steakhouse, server at Olive Garden, just any chain restaurant. They get paid a certain amount of hour. It's $2.13 down south, but they also get tipped on top of that. Does that mean that's a second job within the job? Essentially, you're working to get tipped, but you're still working for the employer, whoever you're working at. So what is this man talking about? He has 4 sources of income. Income in the same establishment? Crazy work.
I get tips at my job. So my new job is hourly plus tips. So I get 2 checks on payday. I get one for hourly, and then I get one for all the tips I make. And plus we get cash tips too. So that's dope. And then also my wife is she's starting at my job too this week. So that's gonna obviously be some extra income as well. So it's dope, bro. Like I'm cool now. So I got some.
You know what's crazy work is that this entire time, this right Dante could have worked, but he wasn't because he's like, I'm only going to work if I'm forced to. That's the move. That's what it's looking like. That's what it's giving, ladies and gentlemen. This whole time you could have been doing gig work. This whole time you could have used your enabled body, your God-given body, just like everybody else. Everybody else has to go out there and get it. Everybody else has to pay their bills. Everybody else has responsibilities. Everybody else has to be held accountable. But you're seeing the loopholes. On top of that, what we have to understand is that people finesse and they scam. This man has the audacity and the courage to record the scamming and the content. He's confessing on YouTube, which is crazy work. If the wrong person or if the right person finds his content, he can be in extreme trouble. He was finessing the government, claiming $0 income while receiving income. But now all that shit is done, ladies and gentlemen, at least for the month of November. And now he wants to go to work. Now you want to act like you're a man, but in reality, you should have been a man because you reproduced. So was you man enough to make a kid, but you was claiming $0 income? It's crazy work.
Solid sources of income, and I'm blessed because I got a job that I can actually do and that I actually like, bro. Like, I like my job now. I can't remember the last time I said that I actually liked a job. Like, I really can't even remember the last time I said that. I worked a lot of jobs over the years, and I never stayed at none of them. But I actually like this job, bro. Like, I'm just thankful.
So let's go to the real reason why Disrespect Dontay was forced to work, because we got to stop the cap here, ladies and gentlemen.
Quick, I'm going to the White House to me. He drunk.
They work for me. They got help me. Like, don't be doing this now.
In the right, they just want us to fight, all right?
My kids have not eaten 5 days. It is the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of my kids.
What? Nah, ladies and gentlemen, what did she just say? This is the psyche, this is the mindset of Disrespect Dontay. Did she just confessed? Hold on.
Not eating 5 days. It is the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of my kids.
Stop the cap.
Wait. It is the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of your kids. So let me get this straight. Hold on. I got to replay this one more time, ladies and gentlemen.
Not eating 5 days. It is the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of my kids.
What? So wait. Hold on. I'm trying my best to take this serious, ladies and gentlemen. So you can be a thotty body, right? The taxpayers wasn't there when you decided to go to these freak offs. The taxpayers didn't tell you to open your legs in the air like you just don't care. The taxpayers didn't tell you to throw your legs in the air like it's YMCA. Yo, was the taxpayers there when you decided to go to Tyrone House and Rashad House and Ray House? Was the taxpayers there when you wanted to be at 304? So because you're making kids and now you need money, it's the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of what goes in your mouth? That's some crazy work.
They cutting off EBT since the shutdown. I can't use EBT in November. I got 7 kids with 7 daddies. Who's supposed to feed?
Wait. Nah, hell nah, bruh. She can't be serious, bruh. 7 kids with 7 different baby daddies.
With 7 daddies. Who's supposed to feed them? Them men ain't paying for nothing.
They cut my motherfucking food stamps to $85 from $738. How the fuck that's supposed to support a household of 3?
My EBT does not pay for anything sweet anymore.
What the fuck you mean? Who ain't getting that goddamn food stamps in goddamn November?
Welcome to the real world.
Only pay $50 in rent. Does that make you angry? Does that make you?
Yo, so hold on. Let me get this straight. I'm just trying to make sense. I'm just trying to put 2 and 2 together, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, wait. Hold on. Hold on. She says she pays $50 in rent. Does that make you angry? So you're blessed enough for somebody to help you come up on your feet, because that's what government assistance is for. Is for, you know, people go through unfortunate situations. We all understand that everyone needs help here and there. You know, no one is perfect by any means. Sometimes you get knocked off your pedestal. Sometimes life be life, and sometimes, you know, unfortunately, you don't have friends and family to rely on. So, by the grace of the Most High, there is something called government assistance to help people from actually being on the streets. So sometimes $0 rent is implemented. Sometimes it's $50, as this woman just said right now through the screen. Sometimes it's 100, but they're trying to set you up to get you back on your feet, because while these people, these individuals, their rent is $50, $0, $100, their income, of course, is going to be higher than $50. So you should be able to save in a time span of 6 months, a year. Sometimes people stay there for 2 years, sometimes 5 years, sometimes 6 years. This right, Dontay was staying in public housing for 6 years. $0 rent while you were working. Could you imagine? Imagine for the people that don't have EBT, such as myself, such as the people that's watching. Imagine if somebody was to help you pay for your rent while you're receiving your income. Do you know how much you would come up? Some of y'all wouldn't even be on this live stream right now. Some of y'all would be in some island, some remote island right now, drinking pina coladas. You wouldn't even be here if you were saving rent for 5-6 years while not paying for rent. What? You would be paid. You would be balling out of control. You would have paid for all your student loans. You would be debt free. You would have remodeled your house. Your car would be brand new. You would have fixed all your car problems. Everything would be refurbished in your place. You would travel. Could you imagine how much you would come up if you didn't have to pay rent for 5-6 years? But you have this enabled body throwing it in the masses' face, saying, does that make you mad that I pay $50 rent? And what's crazy work, the taxpayers is paying for these people's housing. How is somebody else going to pay for your housing, and you have the nerve to come in front of the camera talking about, does that make you mad that I pay $50 rent? Do you have any shame? Who raised the try my best to keep it YouTube friendly because we're on social media, but who raised these degenerates? That's some crazy ass work.
Shivering your boots, does that make you want to punch me in my face? I paid $50 for a 2-bedroom for my family of 6.
What the? Let it breathe. $50. Yo, I'm trying to think what bill is $50 that I have. Maybe this, how much it costs to go live. That's what costs $50. $50. So what I pay for a StreamYard to come alive is her way of living, ladies and gentlemen. And she's throwing it into people's face because the taxpayers. Who's the victim here?
With the help of your tax dollars. Thank you very much. Love you guys.
Oh, hey, that woman looked familiar. Remember this video?
Oh man,
I only pay $50 in rent.
My food stamps. Ass gone. Food stamp name.
Effing around and finding out, and when you add the salt into the wound.
They gave me an eviction notice for 30 days.
Yep, that's
An eviction notice that now they gave me an eviction notice for 30 days.
Yep, that's a good example of effing around and finding out, and when you add the salt into the wound, people are going to be upset, especially right now with everything.
Wow, that same woman that had the audacity to record. See, some things don't have to be said. Why does everybody think they have to expose their business? You was Gucci, you was paying $50 rent, but you want to gloat in front of the camera talking about, thank you, taxpayers, for paying for my way of living. Now your ass is getting evicted. Crazy work.
Y'all knew winter was coming and you still stopped taking EBT? That's cruel.
That's crazy work.
Can't wait months for y'all to figure this out. I got bored.
I swear to Daddy Almighty, this dang EBT card better work. I got 600 kids, 3 packs of ramen left, and Dollar General acting like I'm asking for a loan. Well, maybe if your daddy didn't
Hold on, I'm trying my best to take this serious. Like, this is crazy work. People really going through it right now.
Watch this. I'm about to, yeah, it's about to be some bullshit. It about to be some shit. I'm about to go in that bitch masked up, you hear me? Masked up, bragging every damn thing off the damn shelf, throwing that shit in a basket. Walking.
So is this what they want? Do they want people to spaz out and Thanksgiving? How they gonna? I understand. I do not condone, but hey, it is what it is. If you're trying to survive government systems, but it's the people that's abusing government systems, such as this right, Dante. Now these people are not going to steal; they're going to loot. You really think they're about to starve and Thanksgiving? You got 6 babies in a 2 bedroom apartment. That's some crazy work. So Thanksgiving, man, yo, this gonna be high. The energy, yo. If you haven't already, I would highly suggest that you stay strapped, not trying to cause fear or push any type of that type of energy into the universe. But yo, people are hungry, and that's one thing that you do not want to encounter. Somebody hungry. Have you met somebody hungry? Have you met yourself when you're hungry? That's some crazy work. Let's go back to this right, Dante.
You know what I'm saying? And especially like what happened a couple months ago when me almost losing my apartment. Like I never been in a situation where I.
This man's lying. You was about to lose your apartment. Nah, wasn't about to lose your apartment, man. You was receiving a YouTube AdSense check, and on top of that, you just moved into there. So how? Hold on. How you move into a place 1 month and then the second month you're about to get evicted? First of all, it doesn't even work like that. It takes up to 30, 60, 90 days, really 90 days for you to actually be out of that establishment, of that apartment that you're renting. They will give you a notice that has to go through the court proceedings. And then eventually after 30, 45 days, 60 days, you have to get your ass out. But he was acting like he was about to get out instantly, scamming the people, making it seem like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. Crazy work.
I was like in that much financial hardship. It was scary, bro, because I really didn't know what to do at the time. And I felt like such a failure in my life, bro. I'm like, bro, like I'm a man, bro, with a wife and a son, bro, and I can't afford to keep a roof over my family head, bro. I'm like, nah, bro, this ain't cool, bro. And that was like a real wake up call for me. So I ended up leaving YouTube for a month, and I was like, bro, I gotta get on this job search. You feel me? I gotta start getting things in order. I got a family.
Yo, the reason why you was on the job search, Distract Dante, is because they cut off government assistance. So you was forced to go to the jobs. Yo, you was forced to. Why is this man capping? That's some crazy work, man. This man was saying, oh man, I had to go out and get it on my own. No, you didn't have an option. What you talking about? Let me hear what this man's saying.
I be trying to laugh with the bros.
The government shutting down, they can't get their food stamps and EBT cards instead of getting it up and go get a job. This is an able-bodied man. You can't go get a job, bro. Roll the clip.
Got an email from EBT.
Yo. Yo, imagine being fully healthy. Ladies and gentlemen, when I end this stream, I'm going to go to work. And even if you don't want to work a traditional job, we're living in 2025 where you can go out into the streets and do gig work. So you can be an entrepreneur, you can work for yourself. And let me just put into contents of how much bread you can make doing gig work. So if you do the math and you make, hold on, let me pull up my calculator real fast. If you do $200 a day times 30, that's 6 bands. Now, $200 a day, that's a very good day, but you're going to have to work the entire length of the day from sunrise to sunset. So let's keep it a being. A lot of people's not working from sunrise to sunset. So let's just say $100 a day times 30, bro. That's 3 bands. That's 3 bands. This rack Dante can come up 3 bands plus from the YouTube AdSense check. That's going to push them over 4 bands, at least 3,500. That's going to pay for your rent. That's going to pay for everything you have to take care of. You know what's crazy work? This man has a whole CDL license. He can record content pushing the truck, showing the scenery of going to point A to point B, showing the road, but he decides to mooch off of the government. So at the end of the day, we are living in a generation to where people just don't want to work. They're extremely lazy. And now these people are forced to work.
I used to get $740 a month for my 2 kids. And we're not getting EBT no more. They took the EBT. They saying I got to work 20 hours a week. I'm not working for nobody. Get the fuck out of here. This is what.
Wait. Hold on. See, this is where the message is getting misconstrued. If you are disabled, if you are a U.S. veteran, if you are elderly, then of course, government assistance should come to those people that actually need help. But if you're fully able to go and work, then you should work, period. How are you going to be sitting on your ass complaining to the government that you're broke and now they're funding your account? So now you're living for free, but who's paying for these people's way of living? The taxpayers? So let me get this straight. Myself, I am going out into the street, busting my ass. Whoa! I'm working. Meanwhile, somebody gets to sit on their ass, chill, eat potato chips, watch their favorite TV shows, binge watch whatever they want to watch, while my taxpayers are going to pay for their way of living. Because who's paying for their way of living? It's the working class. Taxpayers are paying for these people's way of living. They're going to backdoor and complain, talking about, oh, I ain't going to work for nobody. I ain't working for no white man. What?
Shut your bitch ass up!
That's some crazy work.
Americans, taxpayer, work for us. They work for me. They got to help me feed my kids. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying?
What? Nah. You can't have grown ass people having this type of mindset, bro. He said that they work for me, taxpayers. Yo, nah. See, that's what's making it. That's why your Trump is seeing it from the outside looking in. He's saying these people have the audacity to not only receive government assistance, but now they bragging about it. Now they gloat in the back and no shame, no sense of any type of dignity. They're saying that taxpayers works for them. Well, now what you about to do? The government is so petty. They took away the assistance on Thanksgiving. That's some crazy work. Thanksgiving? How you gonna take away the?
Like, don't be quitters now. Y'all been helping us all this time. Now y'all want to tap out. Get the fuck out of here. I want my EBT, yo. I want my EBT, and I'm not working for nobody. I'm a boss. What the fuck I look like working when the government is here to help? Come on, y'all send all that money to Iraq, Ukraine. Y'all funding all these wars, but when it's time to help the Americans, y'all don't want to help us. I need my EBT, yo. I need my money, yo. I need my EBT. Stop playing with me, yo.
That's got to be a parody. Comment section. Y'all think that's a parody? You think somebody that stupid? It could be real, though. I ain't going to even lie. We got some other ones? Let's run them. They get stupider. Wrong clip.
Donald Marchman J. Trump. I'm going to take it just like this. What the fuck you mean? Who ain't getting that goddamn food stamps together in November? Because I'm getting my. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm getting my. Because I'm going to take it just like this on Jesus Lamar Christ. I will be at Walmart with my steel toes on and my helmet, and I dare try to stop me from walking out that store with my groceries. Baby, I'm 250 pounds solid. Baby, you want to see a human bulldozer, baby? Because that's what the fuck I'm going to turn into. If you think you're going to stop me from leaving out that store with my monthly groceries that I get every month, I ain't bothering no.
Hold on, man. Hold on, bruh. Hold on, bruh. People really. Let's go to the next content.
She works at the food stamp office. Listen to what she says.
It is because of Trump. So yeah.
So
this is all political. It's all political.
And this is all because of Trump, basically.
No. Basically, it is because of Trump. There ain't no sidestepping it. I'm blaming him for everything. Me, as a United States citizen, I have the right.
Yo, one thing that you have to understand is that Trump can do whatever he wants to do, because at the end of the day, Trump is not paying for my bills. Trump is not going to tell me that I can't go outside unless he implements militia law. Trump can't tell me that I can't eat this or eat that. Trump is not going to tell me when I can pay my bills. Trump is not going to tell me what job that I can go to. Whatever's going on over there shouldn't have an impact on you going out and get it, because at the end of the day, you have to be a hustler. You have to work. People don't want to work. They want to cry on the phone. But what you have to understand, all that crying, all that energy can be used to actually applying for jobs online. And if you don't have a computer, you can go to your local public library. If you don't have a car, you can catch the bus. What happened to those times? What happened to catching the bus and going to where you need to go? Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a will, then there is a way. I don't care what is in front of you. If you have to walk, then you have to plan accordingly. 6 hours, 12 hours, and get to your destination. It is what it is. Somebody's going to see you. Somebody's going to get you a car. Am I asking you to be a sympathy case and hope somebody's going to give you a car? No, but your good deeds is not going to go unnoticed. Also, when you put yourself in a situation to win 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, you're going to win. So people don't want to do that effort because it requires energy. The energy, they rather watch their favorite Netflix shows. They rather be a spectator than to be the superstar in their own real life, because let's keep it a bean. People grab their favorite foods on Sunday and they watch other athletes on TV. But in reality, in their own personal lives, they don't want to be the LeBron James. They don't want to be the Tom Brady of their lives. They rather be spectators. They know all the stats. They know all the trends. They know the person's height, the shoe size, when they was born, what hospital they was born at, what type of milk, when did they drink milk, the first time they drove a car. They know everything about the next man, what's going on in their personal lives. Crying on the phone, talking about EBT, these same people be knowing everything about the next person, what's going on in your life. Your life has purpose as well. Do not let these statistics, do not let these trends, do not let the bias be true that ninjas are no good as going to have to keep it YouTube friendly. Don't let that stereotype be true. Once again, people wish they was in America. You have people in third world countries, ladies and gentlemen, third world countries that risk their lives to come to America to be in the same situation as Americans. But yet Americans, not all, but Americans are crying right now because of EBT. That's some crazy ass work.
To voice my opinion, I still have that legal right, constitutional right, let's put it that way, freedom of speech, whether he likes it or not. Can't stand him. I can't.
You know, lollygagging, thinking life a game. Like, it ain't that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so all of it was like, because I didn't want to work. That was the thing, bro. I didn't want to work for somebody else. But like, damn, bro, like, you get to a point to where it's like, okay, bro, how much do you want to keep struggling? How much do you want to keep going through all this that you're going through constantly because you just don't want to work? That's what I had to tell myself, bro. So I'm like, bro, if I had stable income, I wouldn't have went through 90% of what I went through over the last 5 years if I would have just had a solid source of income. I went through what I went through because I didn't.
What? If you had stable income, my guy, you did it to yourself. He said, if I had stable income, my nick, you was claiming $0 income because you was living in public housing. This victim mindset has to stop. You got to stop the cap. Are we serious, ladies and gentlemen? If I had income, my guy, you chose not to work. That's why you don't have income.
I want to work for somebody. You know what I'm saying? I was lazy. That's really what it was, bro. I was lazy. And I had like a bunch of like self-work ethic. Like if I could make my own money, I was cool. I was grinding. But when it came to working for somebody else, I ain't had no good work ethic there. But that's the important. That's part of being a man. You know, we live in a world nowadays where everybody want to be content creators. Everybody want to be on social media. Everybody want to own businesses. That's just how life is now. You don't come across people who say they want to work jobs or talk highly of jobs. It's people don't do it, bro. Everybody always complain about working. I was one of those people too. You don't realize how scary it is, bro, until you ain't got nowhere to stay. That terrified me. You hear me? That terrified me. It was stuff I ain't even show on YouTube, bro. I was crying in my wife's arms, bro. I was crying, holding my...
What? Yo, fellas, take heed of this message. You should never be crying in your wife's arms because your ass is lazy and you don't want to go to work. You should be crying in your wife's arms because something unfortunate occurred and it was out of your hands, such as your dog passing away, such as loved ones passing away, such as unfortunate events that once again you are out of control. But to be a man crying because you don't have money, but you didn't work for the past 5 years, what does that make you look like?
Son, bro, telling them, bro, I'm so sorry that I got us in this position. I'm gonna get our lives together. I promise we gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? That was a wake-up call for me, bro. So at that point, bro, I'm like, yeah, I left YouTube. I ain't care about YouTube, bro. I left YouTube for an entire month, bro. I just stopped uploading, bro. 'Cause I'm like, bro, this ain't cool, bro. Like, look at where I'm at in my life, bro. I can't afford.
Yo, you left YouTube because you got the bag already. You got tired of scamming. You get called out by every single content creator that's online. Everybody made content about this, right, Dontay? The kitchen, the heat got hot. You got out of the kitchen, and now you're coming back because EBT is canceled, and now you're going to record yourself going to work. In reality, you're an enabled body, and you could be working this entire time for the past 5-6 years. You chose to sit on your ass. YouTube check decided to, it's inconsistent when it comes to YouTube. So you was solely relying on YouTube. You couldn't pay your bills, so you made struggle content. The views started increasing, and now you're talking about what?
For my bills, I can't, you feel me? Like, I need to go and get my life in order, bro. I need to leave this social media shit alone and just go and get my life right. I ain't never felt that low before in my life, bro. I never felt that low before in my life. Like, I got a family, bro, and I can't even, you feel me? And so that's why I started sharing the videos. I'm like, at that point, I'm like, bro, I gotta do whatever I gotta do to get these bills paid so I can keep my crib. You feel me? At that point, I ain't care with nobody.
Oh my goodness. So he's saying that he was willing to sell his soul to pay for his bills, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine being a sellout that bad, having your ass in the air. Whoa! This man said that he's willing to do anything to get a YouTube check.
Nobody thought about me. I ain't care about sharing the journey at that point. Yes, it was like, it wasn't like I didn't want to share that journey when I was losing my crib and all of that, but I did it because it was a desperate attempt to be able to keep my apartment. You feel me? So yeah, it was just a wake-up call for me, man. And realizing now that I don't live in public housing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm out here like in the real world now. Like, the bills ain't subsidized. It ain't no leniency. I gotta work. I gotta pay the bills. I need consistent income. You know, when you living in market rate, it ain't no joke out here. I was stupid, bro. Like, I was confused. I didn't know which direction to go. I didn't know what I wanted to do, what I wanted to lock in on. I thought I did. I was locking in on content because I felt like that was the only way that I was gonna ever make some consistent money, because I had no faith in me keeping no type of job or finding no type of career. I made so many mistakes, bro, but I can't blame nobody but myself, bro. Like, it was because of me I was in that situation for so long. It was because of me I was in that situation a few months ago. Right? Because I lacked the work ethic. I was being lazy. I didn't want to hold a job and be a man and take care of responsibilities for my family, bro. That's messed up, bro. My mind wasn't in the right place, bro. You know, I felt like a...
Yo, what? Imagine being a whole man with a family talking about I'm lazy. You have a family. You don't have the time. You don't have the lane to be lazy. You have a kid. It'd be one thing if you was a person that was single, you know, okay, because at the end of the day, the consequence falls on you. But if you're lazy, that's going to hit home. That's impacting your wife. That's impacting the household.
failure, bro. I was a failure, bro. I can't even say I wasn't a failure, bro. A man who can't provide for his family, bro, you failed, bro. Especially if it's because you chose to take a path that wasn't consistent. I can't blame nobody but myself, bro. So I'm never making that mistake again. So I don't care what I gotta do, bro. What I gotta do. I am going to take care of my family. I am going to hold down this job. I'm going to continue to grind on my channel. Wherever income I can continuously pull in. I don't care if it's YouTube. I don't care if it's Get Work. I don't care if my job. It's all coming in, bro. I gotta stay consistent with any income, bro. Like, I never want to go without a solid source of income coming in, bro. My job is priority. My job now is priority even before YouTube, even before anything else. That stability that I never could keep, that's priority for me, for real. And I always had a lot of people telling me too, bro. Like, I had people giving me advice that I didn't take. I had people telling me, like, bro, like, I understand, bro, like, what you trying to do, but, bro, you got to hold down a job at some point. I had people telling me that, bro. I didn't listen.
Wait, you didn't listen. How you not listening to your friends telling you if you don't work, you don't eat? So he was so used, ladies and gentlemen. That's the plague. That is the cancer that public housing implements into these people's minds, is that they think life is sweet. No, you actually got to work for what you want. You actually got to work for what you want to eat. You cannot just accept government assistance year after year after year after year. 6 years in government assistance is some crazy work, ladies and gentlemen. 6 years? Stop the cap. That's some crazy ass work.
I had to learn how to go through it the hard way. And I went through it the worst way possible. Almost being homeless with my family, bro. Because I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to take that advice that was given to me. It's a learning lesson, bro. And I kept repeating that, though. That's the thing. I never wanted to listen. I always felt like I knew what was right for me in my life. I didn't want to live by the rules. I didn't want to live a normal life like everybody else. I wanted to chase social media and be successful and be famous and make all this money the easy way without putting in the work and grind. That was me, bro.
You was a light-skinned ass ninja wanting to meet Tyler Perry, even though Tyler Perry has all these allegations. You wanted Tyler Perry to touch you. Whoa!
I did that. At that time, bro, I felt like I ain't even deserve to have a family. I'm like, bro, I got a family I can't even take care of, for real. Life ain't no game, bro.